Did you know that your brain learns faster when you're having fun? That's why today, we're taking you on an exciting journey with a story full of adventure, strange food, and unforgettable mistakes. So hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a fun lesson like this. Stick around until the end. You'll be surprised how much English you'll learn without even trying. The sky was a soft grey, and the air smelled like rain. Lena had just arrived in China. She was a curious girl with a backpack full of dreams and a stomach ready for adventure. She had always wanted to see the Great Wall, not just in pictures, not in videos, but with her own eyes. This was her chance. She walked through the busy streets of Beijing, full of lights, honking cars, and the smell of noodles floating in the air. Everything looked different, and everything sounded exciting. It felt like stepping into a dream. She didn't know the language, but that didn't stop her. She smiled at strangers, pointed at maps, and used funny gestures to find her way. Every moment was a small challenge, and every small challenge made her feel alive. Lena had a plan. She would take a local bus to a quiet part of the Great Wall, far from the tourist crowds. She had read about a small village near the mountains where only a few travelers went. It was peaceful, wild, and real. That's exactly what she wanted. The bus ride was long and bumpy. Trees passed by the windows like green waves, and the road climbed higher and higher into the hills. By the time she arrived, the sun was sitting low in the sky, painting the mountains orange and gold. She stepped off the bus and looked around. The village was small, quiet, and surrounded by nature. No tall buildings. No noise. Just the sound of birds and wind. Lena found a little guest house at the edge of the village. The owner didn't speak English, but he smiled a lot and showed her to a simple room with a bed, a small table, and a window facing the mountains. She dropped her backpack and opened the window. The Great Wall curved like a dragon across the hills in the distance. It was even more beautiful than she imagined. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since morning. She decided to go find something local, something new. The guest house owner pointed down the road, where a few small shops and food stands were still open. The sky was turning pink, and little lights were starting to glow along the street. Lena walked slowly, reading signs she couldn't understand, watching steam rise from pots, listening to people talk in a language she didn't speak. She felt like a traveler from another planet, lost, excited, and hungry. One food stand caught her eye. It was small, with an old wooden sign and a big pot bubbling on a stove. The smell was strange. Not bad, not good, just different. Like nothing she had ever smelled before. She pointed to the pot, and the man behind the stand gave her a wide smile. He scooped something into a bowl, handed it to her, and said something she didn't understand. The food looked unusual. It was thick and brown, with round pieces floating in it. Some were soft. Some were a bit rubbery. There were herbs, maybe, or mushrooms. Maybe something else. She looked at it. Then she laughed. "This is the adventure," she whispered to herself. "This is what I came for." She took a bite. The first taste was strong. Very strong. It was salty, sour, and something else, something she couldn't name. The texture was chewy. Not meat. Not exactly. Not like anything she had tasted before. She kept eating. Bite after bite. Some parts were spicy. Some were sweet. Her mouth was confused, but she was having fun. The man behind the stand smiled as she finished the bowl. She gave him a thumbs up and thanked him, even though he probably didn't understand. Later that night, back in her room, Lena looked out the window at the Great Wall. The moon was rising, and the wind whispered softly through the trees. She smiled, but her stomach didn't. At first, it was just a little twist, like a balloon slowly filling with air. Then it grew. The feeling turned sharp, hot, and heavy. She sat up in bed. Something was wrong. She stood up, but the room tilted slightly. Her head felt heavy. Her skin turned cold and sweaty. Her hands shook. She rushed to the bathroom and spent the next hour wishing she hadn't been so brave. It was a long night. The wind outside howled like a wild animal. The shadows moved across the walls. Lena lay in bed, wrapped in a blanket, feeling small, alone, and a little scared. She thought about home. She thought about warm soup, clean bedsheets, and people who spoke the same language. She thought about the food stand, the bowl, the strange taste, the man's smile, and she laughed. Even in the dark, even in her regret, she laughed. "This is what I came for," she whispered again. In the morning, she felt a little better, tired but stronger. Her stomach still made strange noises, but the worst had passed. The guest house owner brought her some tea. She didn't know what kind it was, but it was warm, soft, and comforting, like kindness in a cup. She spent the day resting, watching the clouds move over the Great Wall. In the afternoon, she walked a little, just to feel the sun. She didn't eat much, just plain rice and some fruit. The next day, she felt almost normal. She hiked to the Great Wall. Step by step, breath by breath, she climbed the stones. The wind touched her face, and the view stole her words. Mountains, sky, silence. She stood on top of the wall and closed her eyes. This was the moment she had dreamed about, and she had earned it. Later, back in the village, she passed the food stand again. The same pot was bubbling. The same strange smell danced in the air. She smiled at the man. He smiled back. But this time, she walked past. Did you notice what happened? You didn't just read a fun story. You learned English grammar, useful vocabulary, and sentence structure without sitting in a boring classroom. That's the magic of storytelling. You absorbed real English in real context, and now it's part of you. From verbs like rushed, whispered, regretted, to phrases like step by step, and felt almost normal. Your brain picked them up naturally, just like how kids learn. Let's keep growing together. If you enjoyed this story and learned something new, give it a like so more people can find it. Subscribe for more exciting English learning adventures. And now I want to hear from you. What's the weirdest food you have ever tried? Drop your answer in the comments, and practice your English while you're at it. We'll see you in the next story.